Kate enjoyed shopping online. One day, she spotted a bright red dress that looked great in photos and was surprisingly affordable, so she quickly made the purchase. The dress arrived after half a month, and Kate had almost forgotten about it, so she was pleasantly surprised when the package came. She fondly recalled making the purchase as she admired the dress, which she soon began to wear frequently. However, not long after, strange occurrences began to unfold. One day, as Kate was preparing to go out in the red dress, she was stopped by her mother, who noticed something odd. "Kate, why are there bugs on you?" her mother asked, pointing at Kate's neck. Sure enough, Kate saw a small black bug crawling slowly. She brushed it off, thinking it was a fluke. But as she wore the dress more often, more bizarre incidents happened, with bugs not only appearing on her, but also in various corners of their home. Kate's health began to deteriorate. She grew thinner and weaker, much to her mother's distress. One day, while changing in front of the mirror, Kate screamed in horror as she found her back covered in a dense swarm of tiny bugs. No matter how much she tried to get rid of them, the bugs seemed to be emerging from her body, not just falling onto it. The bugs became more numerous by the day, and Kate became increasingly gaunt. One evening, feeling a strange chill at her feet, she lifted her blanket only to find the bedsheet crawling with tiny snakes, their cold scales brushing against her skin. Terrified, Kate scrambled away from her bed. Desperate, Kate's mother consulted Gypsy Woman, who revealed that Kate had been cursed. They explained that the curse could only be lifted if someone else wore the dress to share the burden of her suffering. Kate's mother, determined to save her daughter, agreed to wear the dress, despite Kate's protests. Kate's mother gritted her teeth and said that she was willing to endure the pain for her daughter. Kate mentioned that the dress was lost, but the Gypsy Woman told her it was still in her room and pointed out its exact location. Following the Gypsy Woman's instructions, Kate finally found the dress under her bed mat. The dress was still as bright and beautiful as ever, but to Kate, it now looked like evidence of a blood-sucking crime. The dress lay quietly on the bed while Kate slept in it above it. The sight terrified Kate. Making her cry out in fear, and her mother hugged her tightly, constantly comforting her. The Gypsy Woman said that if Kate's mother wore the dress instead, the pain would transfer to her. Kate vehemently refused, but her mother tearfully told her that if anything happened to Kate, life would have no meaning for her. Kate's mother had been divorced from her father for many years, and she and Kate had only each other. Kate believed her mother's words deeply. If she died, her mother would surely follow her. After Kate's mother put on the dress, she soon passed away. Kate was heartbroken. At that moment, Kate saw her father and immediately ran into his arms, wanting to tell him about her pain. However, as she hugged him, she was horrified to notice the same terrifying bugs on her father's collar. What is this?" Kate asked, pointing at the bugs on her father's neck. Her father sternly pushed her away, saying coldly she wasn't supposed to know about these things. Confused and frightened, Kate remembered her mother hinting at dark secrets involving her father. Digging through her father's old diaries, Kate discovered his involvement in a cult ritual that used the dress to harness life force through parasitic bugs. Realizing she and her mother were victims of his sinister plots, Kate resolved to end this nightmare. The mysterious woman's name was Alice. She was beautiful and had many suitors, but her beauty brought her endless misfortune. Alice happened to meet a handsome man who turned out to be Kate's father. They fell deeply in love, unaware that he was secretly involved in a cult organization that conducted dark rituals to gain power and wealth. One day, Alice was invited by her boyfriend to attend a mysterious gathering. She wore the red dress he had given her as a gift, unaware that it was cursed. The gathering took place in a secluded mansion where the atmosphere was eerie and the candlelight dim. Alice began to feel uneasy, but her boyfriend's sweet words reassured her. However, as the gathering reached its climax, Alice found herself surrounded by the crowd. The seemingly friendly people suddenly revealed their sinister intentions and started chanting ancient incantations. Alice tried to escape but found herself bound by an invisible force. Her boyfriend looked on coldly, showing no mercy. She was forcibly brought to an altar, where the priest raised a dagger and began to carve complex runes into her skin. Alice screamed in agony, but it was in vain. The beautiful dress was stained with her blood. After the ritual, Alice was cruelly murdered, and her resentment became attached to the dress. Kate discovered all of this in her father's diary and felt a mixture of shock and anger. She knew that without uncovering this secret, neither her mother's soul nor herself could find peace. In the final pages of the diary, Kate's father mentioned an abandoned mansion where the woman was buried in the basement. Kate shivered, knowing that without unraveling this secret, she herself is unable to find peace. She decided to follow the clues in the diary to find the abandoned mansion. Piecing together descriptions from the diary and old photographs, Kate managed to locate the mansion. She remembered her father writing a place you can't return to on the back of a photo, with the mansion's exterior visible in the background. On a stormy day, Kate took the ritual props given by the gypsy woman and ventured alone to the mansion. She consulted a map to find the general location of the mansion, and despite the treacherous weather making the journey difficult, she pressed on without hesitation. After hours of trekking, Kate finally reached the mansion. It was in ruins, overgrown with vines and weeds, its windows shattered. Kate took a deep breath, pushing open the rusted iron gate and stepping inside. She lit candles, casting flickering shadows in the dim room. Following the priest's instructions, Kate set up the ritual in the mansion's basement. She arranged the candles in a circle, clutching the protective amulet given to her by the gypsy woman. As she recited the incantations, a chill filled the air. When she uttered the final spell, a fierce gust of wind swept through, causing the candle flames to flicker weakly. Suddenly, a blurry figure appeared before her, the owner of the red dress. Her eyes brimmed with resentment and sorrow, instilling a sense of fear in Kate. Yet she knew she had to face it to break free. "Why have you come here, Kate?" The woman's voice echoed like a wail from the abyss, filled with endless sorrow. "Who are you? Why did you harm us?" Kate demanded. Facing the apparition, Kate felt a mix of fear and sadness, even though she had learned of the woman's tragic fate from the diary. Her ghostly figure, pale and blurry, emanated profound sadness and resentment, as if touching the depths of the observer's soul. The air grew icy with her bitterness, prompting Kate to tightly grip the protective amulet, seeking solace for her troubled mind. Just as Kate and the spirit reached some kind of understanding, now when the bugs began to dissipate, footsteps suddenly approached from behind, escalating the tense atmosphere once again. Kate turned around to see her father. His eyes held no paternal love, only deep-seated indifference and a hint of imperceptible fear. He held a dagger gleaming with cold light, a sardonic smile playing on his lips. "Do you think it's so easy to end this?" Her father's voice was low and dangerous, dripping with undeniable menace. Kate realized that behind all of this, there might be deeper secrets. Her father's involvement was not merely about past romance and betrayal. It likely involved certain unknown rituals and beliefs of the cult. This secret might be so important and dangerous that her father was willing to harm his own daughter to protect it. Faced with her father's threat, Kate's heart was filled with conflict and anguish, but more than anything, she felt confusion and fear. Why would her father go to such lengths? What force compelled him to make such a choice? These questions swirled in Kate's mind, but she knew now was not the time for interrogation. Faced with the impending blade, Kate could only rely on the temporary protection offered by the apparition, hoping to find an opportunity to break free. As the apparition's power shielded Kate in the critical moment, an invisible force suddenly slammed into her father. His face contorted in pain, his breath becoming labored. He struggled to steady himself, but each attempt grew weaker as his strength ebbed away. His breath grew rapid and heavy, his eyes filled with fear and disbelief. Kate stood silently beside him, her heart filled with a complex mix of emotions. Grief for her father's imminent demise and relief as the long-held secret finally came to light. Eventually, her father's eyes lost focus. His breath ceased. In his final moments, he seemed to want to say something, his lips moving slightly, but no sound came out. His body stopped struggling, gradually relaxing until it lay still. There was a palpable sense of sorrow and silence in the air, as the apparition's ghostly smoke dissipated, seemingly carrying away the last traces of the tragedy. Kate stood there, gazing at her father's peaceful expression, her heart overwhelmed by complex emotions. But she knew that from now on, This cursed history would finally come to an end. She could begin a new life, free from the shadows of the past. Kate breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that it was finally over. Kate, dragging her exhausted body, returned home, determined to put an end to her ordeal. She was about to burn the dress, but no matter how hard she tried, the flames refused to catch. The fabric seemed to resist the fire, almost as if it were enchanted. Kate is now wearing the blood-red dress, its fabric shimmering ominously in the dim light. She turns slowly, her eyes glinting with an eerie confidence, and a chilling smile spreads across her face as she gazes directly into the camera.